Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the video. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about future content in Wuthering Waves. Obviously, everybody knows, and if you don't know, you've probably been living under a rock right now. 2.0's launched, Renaceita's here, and in my opinion, it's probably one of, if not the best gacha update that I've played myself. Now, I know that's a big statement, but I kind of believe that. Well, actually, I do believe that. I think it's absolutely one of the best gacha content patches that I've seen. But anyway, I don't necessarily want to talk about Renaceita, although I could glaze it all day. I want to talk about future content, and the reason being is I was having a little perusal on Google and I came across this Game Rant article, and it relates to an interview that happened about a week or so ago in Korea between Solon and Webazine, I believe it was. And there was a particular question and an answer from Solon that made me think about content in the future, where we're going, mechanics, and if we're going to see old paths that we've treaded before return to in regards to wrapping up particular storylines that some people might think have not ended. Of course, we know there's a lot of people thinking, what's going on with Scar? Is he just forever going to be making skins for Jinsei? Is there potential stories to be fulfilled with Camellia? Because personally, I'm one that I want to see what happened with Camellia in the past. I think there's a really interesting story to be told there. I would like to see her coming of age, her experience of becoming a resonator and what that entailed, and the potential quite dark things that we saw in Camellia's past. And the way we'll do that is obviously by bouncing backwards and forwards between regions. Now, I think with Genshin Impact, it's kind of set us up to expect that every time we go to a new region, it's going to be a new region and not a new region within a nation, so to speak. And what I mean by that is, if we just go to this question that was asked in this interview, it might be a bit early to ask, but in the beginning, Wuthering Waves mentioned the 7 regions of Huanglong, including Jinzhou. Now you've moved to Renaceita, a completely different setting. What can we expect in the new world of Wuthering Waves, or in the world of Wuthering Waves, should I say? And Solon replied, as you mentioned, Huanglong alone has regions beyond Jinzhou, and Renaceita itself has additional cities. Wherever we go next, there are expansive storylines ready to unfold. Our challenge is determining how to present them fully and effectively. So, like, you know, the cogs start whirring in my head then of thinking, okay, if they really do want to make stories feel right and at the right moment, it would make sense for us to bounce around backwards and forwards between the expansive parts of these regions that we haven't seen yet, that are connected to old stories, so to speak, and relate to characters that we've seen before and we haven't had stories from, and characters that we've had stories from, but potentially there's more to give for those characters. And I think there is definitely that with the cast of characters that we've got, and some of the stories that we've had, I still think have some more to give. And I think this would be a great way to go about doing it, with bringing new people in, but still telling older stories. I feel like one thing that I've been asking for in this game is characters to have return appearances, if you will, and it just makes them feel a bit more alive rather than just popping up as a guest star and kind of disappearing into the shadows, shall we say. So let me just continue with this here. Another major consideration is meeting player expectations. The experiences we provide must satisfy our audience, knowing how much players have cherished what we've shown so far, and their anticipation for what's next motivates us to rise to the occasion. One of our key directions is delivering fresh and diverse experience players haven't had before, and we're constantly refining ideas to achieve this. So this tells me, potentially, voice crack there, that we may see this bouncing between regions. We see some sub-regions within Renaceita, like we already did in Huanglong, in Mount Firmament, in the Black Shores, and then potentially, maybe we see some more expansion of the Renaceita nation itself, the archipelago, or we potentially come back to Huanglong and maybe wrap up some stories that some people have kind of been itching to see maybe resolved, or some characters expanded upon, to potentially just build things out a little bit more, rather than us just going in this straight line further and further away from our original destination or original start point. It doesn't have to be this linear journey of every 6 months we're in a new nation altogether and it's totally different. We can see this bouncing between different regions within these larger nations, and I feel like that would definitely be a good way to go about things personally for me as well, because we could do a lot more foreshadowing as well in regards to upcoming regions. Because if I just pop back to here, obviously we know the regions, or the nations that we know about at least anyway, and I would imagine there's probably more nations, but we don't know, is Jinzhou, Renacita, and the new Federation, which of course I'm excited to see what the new Federation's all about. What does it represent? Just the name of it makes me think potentially it's a more westernized civilization. Is it based on America potentially, or is it based on some kind of Western imperial empire? Who knows? But just the name and the rumblings that we've heard about it, we know that they do seem to have high technology. So I'm really interested to see where we go in regards to the new Federation. But I also, going back to a video that we reacted to a while ago with Ryuku talking about tonal shifts potentially happening too soon, this could be a way to maybe pause those tonal shifts, to build suspense and to build up future nations and potential future antagonists in a way that I feel like would definitely bring a lot more excitement to the game potentially for me. And again, allow us just to see more of these nations that we've been a part of so far, and give them a lot more of a lived in feeling, and the idea that the world is a lot more expansive than what we see, you know, because we know that Huanglong, Jinzhou is bigger than what we know. So it would be nice to travel to some of those places, see more of these areas. I think it's 11 areas in Huanglong, I believe, and 7 in Renacita. So this idea that we only have 5 nations to go to, as some people have spoken of, or 7 nations to go to, the potential is quite large when you think about it in regards to the different regions within these nations, and potentially even the slight variations in the culture as well, and the characters and the cast of characters that we'll meet. And I wanted to talk about as well, like, you know, the mechanics as well, because we've saw now we've brought in flight in Renacita, and as somebody who was, I definitely thought it makes sense to not have flight in Huanglong. After going back and playing in Huanglong again, I kind of would like flight in Huanglong, but it made me think, okay, right, if we go to a new area in the future, what different sort of modes of transport could we have, or modes of traversal could we have? Could we potentially see in the future mounts or vehicles? Obviously, the region would have to be designed for that in mind. You know, we don't want to make traversal feel insignificant and just pointless, and smaller, tighter areas would feel kind of jarring and janky if we just stuck a car in there, or some sort of creature that would allow us to traverse really quick around them. And I would like future regions as well, definitely to be designed with the flight in mind. It would be interesting to maybe see at some point in the future flight brought to Huanglong as well. I think it might improve the region also, and that could bring some sort of mode of transport that allows us to get launched into the air, kind of like the flying echoes or flying tassets that we've got in Renacita. But just give them some other skin, so to speak. They don't have to be one of those tassets. There could be something else. It could be like an air balloon or something like that that launches us up into the sky, because obviously the Nexus isn't there to spawn common echoes and such like that. Or potentially that gift that was given to the Renacitans is later, you know, given to Jinzhou or spread out across the world from the spread of the Renacitans, if potentially, you know, the Montelli family are successful in their endeavors and the Sentinel wishes to expand that sort of, you know, that sort of knowledge and gifts to the rest of the world as well. It would be really interesting to see. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to make this video, kind of just having a conversation with you guys in regards to, would you like to see us potentially be bouncing between these regions? You know, if we did go to the new Federation, we come back to Huanglong, we go back to different regions within Renacita, just to make it feel a little bit more like an actual adventure rather than it just being a straight line. This idea that, okay, within 6 months, we know we're going somewhere totally different, rather than it being, we kind of, you know, who knows where we're going. Maybe we go back to Huanglong, maybe we explore more of Renacita. And it would also, as well, it would allow for stories to kind of be left on cliffhangers in regions for us to come back and tie them up within that region, rather than the character just appearing on the other side of the world to potentially finish up those stories. I think it'd just add a little bit more suspense to the future updates of the game, personally for me anyway. Yeah, I just want to know what you guys think anyway about this, because as I say, I was just having a little perusal through the news. This came up, it made me think about that question that was put to Solon, and it just made me think about, okay, where do we go next? Do we see an expansion of these old areas? Do we tie up some stories? Do we add something to characters that we didn't add anything to in the game so far? And I'd just like to know what you guys think. So yeah, let me know in the comment section. Guys, if you did enjoy the video, give it a like, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ta-ra.